Travel info. Best time to go for the best weather. Travel between November and April. Language: English. Currency: New Zealand dollar. Weather: January and February are the hottest months, with an average temperature of 71 superscript OF, 21 superscript OC. July and August are the coldest months, with an average temperature of 55 superscript OF, 13 superscript OC. Phone code: New Zealand phone code, 64. Auckland area code, 9. Auckland dial code, +64 9. Time zone: UTC +12 hours. Transportation: the city and its inner suburbs are easily explored on foot, but you can also take the Interlink bus, $2.50, which does loops around the city to Parnell, K Road, Ponsonby, and Victoria Park. Electric: local voltage is 240 AC, or 50 Hz. Power outlets take 2-pin and 3-pin plugs. Type I. Regularly rated as one of the world's most livable cities, Auckland, also called Tamaki Makaurau, has grown into a beauty of a destination. The sparkling harbour is sprinkled with gleaming white sails and ferries commuting to waterside suburbs and outlying islands. The largest Polynesian city in the world, Auckland has also become hugely multicultural, which is reflected in the dynamic dining scene, unlike in Melbourne and Sydney, which has fed off a rich Mediterranean immigrant heritage. Asian cuisines here are plentiful. Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Indian, and to a lesser extent, Thai flavors are common, and some have worked their way into New Zealand's contemporary, seasonally driven cuisine. You'll find all of this and more in the Central Business District, or CBD, and the inner city suburbs. In the CBD, historic High Street and Vulcan Lane have always drawn people in with their small-town charm, but the new kid on the block has recently rejuvenated Britomart, which brims with boutiques, alfresco cafes and restaurants. Inner-city Ponsonby is a rambling residential neighborhood teeming with beautiful people and Victorian-era houses. It's Auckland's answer to New York City's West Village. Ponsonby Road and nearby Jervois Road in Herne Bay are both lined with bars, cafes, and restaurants. Across the bridge, Takapuna, the moneyed northern suburb about a 15-minute drive from downtown, has long been known for its white sand beach but is now gaining attention for its retail and culinary scenes. Stick around for summer when the Pakitakawa tree puts the coast into dramatic red relief. Perched on cliffs and hanging from hilltops, this tenacious and gnarly New Zealand native has a sensational display of red flowers. It's a special sight when the stamens fall to the ground and turn the white beaches and sidewalks a pinky red. While there is tons of entertainment in the city, there's much more to this subtropical destination, including the harbour, Oraki Gulf and its outlying islands, beautiful bushwalks in the Waitaki Ranges, and the wild west coast beaches of Piha, Kirikare, and Beth Hells, to explore. Auckland Art Gallery Toi o Tamaki. When an extension to this 1887 building was completed in 2011, Aucklanders finally had an artistic heart to call their very own. The addition to the French chateau-style building engages visitors at its street entrance with the vaulted Kori canopy, said to represent the bicultural relationship of Maori and Pakeha. It's a worthy asset to the city, its people, and the art it hosts. Inside, you can expand your cultural horizons further with both the permanent collection and rotating exhibits. 2. Auckland War Memorial Museum and Winter Gardens. The Auckland War Memorial Museum is a stunning example of colonial architecture, with Greco-Roman grandeur and expansive views across Waimate Harbour to Rangitoto Island. Located in Auckland's oldest park, the site stakes claim to some of the city's best views, but it's what's on the inside that counts. The world's finest collection of Maori and Pacific artifacts and Te Anga treasure, as well as Maori cultural performances and a changing array of exhibitions. While here, stroll to the Winter Gardens. In the grounds of the domain, opened in 1913, you'll find a fascinating collection of tropical and temperate plants in the Victorian-style glass houses. 3. Devonport. This self-contained, late Victorian neighbourhood has plenty of historic sites, including Northland, a British fort dating back to 1887, and two of Auckland's picture-perfect beaches, Cheltenham and Narroneck. Climb to the top of Mount Victoria for gorgeous 360-degree views of the city, Oraki Gulf, and the North Shore. The neighbourhood has great local cafes, including tiny triumphs for craft beer, fine wine, and good times. That's Bar and Eatery for tapas-style food and sustainable wine, Chateaubriand, the French deli, cafe, and local institution, and the Officers' Mess, on the historic clifftop of Narroneck Beach. Officers' Mess is only open Sundays and serves classic cafe dishes with a twist, such as house mince and poached eggs on ciabatta. Finally, there's the Vic, the community theatre that locals campaign fiercely to save. This art house cinema and performing arts center also has an excellent bar and tapas. 4. Heron Bay Beaches. A string of exquisite little beaches line the shores of Heron Bay, one of Auckland's most desirable and expensive suburbs. Despite the real estate, the home that dominates Sentinel Road Beach recently went for $24 million. There's an egalitarian feel to these charming gems and each has its own personality. Hamilton and Cremorne beaches have the clearest water at high tide, but the sandy shore also disappears, so throw your towel on a low-hanging Pahiatakawa branch and jump in. Hipsters drinking craft beer pack into popular Sentinel Road, while Heron Bay and Home Bay have a little more room to move around and spread out a picnic blanket. 5. Flotsam and Jetsam. Weekend fall-seekers have a new excuse to go hunting and gathering with the opening of Flotsam and Jetsam's warehouse on Great North Road this Friday. The new space means owner Cameron Woodcock has more room for bigger pieces. He also hopes it will inspire shoppers to rummage through items not yet in his Ponsonby Road store. It has more of a warehouse feel to it, he says, of the plain white walls and concrete floors. For years, the Ponsonby Road store has been a haven for second-hand items that appeal to Cameron's eclectic eye. Industrial pieces, homewares, whimsical ornaments. While the store will continue to stock the staples, the warehouse will house a new collection of rarer pieces and one-offs. Warehouse shoppers will find vintage signs, large display cabinets and garden creatures, many with a colorful past. Little signs displaying cows' names come from a Texan agriculture show. A hardware paint sign spent 30 years gathering dust in a lockup, and wooden stands from West Auckland were used by a sculptor for his turning wheels. Several of Cameron's pieces are sourced from the US, but he also has friends who send stuff his way. Deceased estates, big clean-outs and families looking to downsize are great sources of treasure. Cameron once salvaged a few pieces after stumbling across a skip outside a house in Ponsonby. And yes, he did knock on the door first. I tend to stock stuff that's well used, well looked after and tells its own story, he says. I love giving things a new life. It's always better than throwing them out. 6. Karangahape Road. Karangahape, pronounced Karangahape, is a long road with a long name, which is why it is affectionately known as K Road. With dogged grit and determination, K Road has resisted the creep of gentrification, even while all those around it fall. A mere skip from Ponsonby Road and at the top of Queen Street, the city's main shopping strip, K Road still has its red light side, but it has always been much more than that. It was the first home of the gay and transgender Pacifica and Pakeha community. People have always come here to be who they are, and that individual flavor remains. When sisters Damaris and Renee Coulter opened their upbeat bar and eatery, Coco's Cantina, in 2009 with the motto "Be Kind," they gave this trip the dose of Aroa love it needed. If Coco's is the new heart, the counterculture treasure of St. Kevin's Arcade is the old soul. The iconic 90-year-old building has seen it all, and continues as a cultural mix of now and then shops, bars, and cafes. Spread out from here and you'll find galleries such as Michaelette, Stark White, Tim Malville, Bowerbank Nino, and Artspace, all of which represent and exhibit work by some of New Zealand's leading artists. 7. Rangitoto Island. You never have to look far to be reminded that Auckland resides on a volcanic field. The most obvious and beautiful reminder is Rangitoto Island, with its graceful presence that dominates Waitangi Harbour. The iconic 600-year-old beauty is Auckland's youngest volcano, and she rises gently from the sea into a beautiful symmetrical crater shrouded in Maori myth and legend. You can take the 25-minute ferry ride from the Auckland Ferry Terminal and make the 1-hour walk to Rangitoto's summit, join a 4-wheel drive tour, or if you are feeling energetic and confident enough to take on the passenger ferries that ply the crossing, hire a kayak at Fergus Inn or Ake Island paddle over. Set aside the good part of a perfect day if you choose the latter. 8. St. Auckland Harbour. The America's Cup Challenge is dubbed the rich man's race, which is fair, given the yachts cost millions to build and hundreds of dollars simply to complete a single tack. So it seems a shame to have those mega-dollar racing machines go to pasture once they've done their dash. Explorenzi has put the yachts to good use, and you can now glide through the harbour on one of the former thoroughbreds. Wrap your hands around a winch, get behind a grinder, or simply relax and enjoy a 2-hour experience, with a great view of the Devonport Peninsula, Rangitoto, and the city. Competitive types can take on a 3-hour head-to-head race challenge. 9. Waiheke Island, 20 kilometers to the east of the city. Take a 30-minute ferry trip or speedy helicopter ride. Waiheke is a destination within a destination. Numerous Aucklanders make a day trip to dine at one of the island's 30-plus boutique wineries, and just as many flock there to get married. It was the hippies and artists who first discovered this idyllic spot dotted with beaches, bushland, and captivating coves. They were eventually followed by high rollers who have built luxury retreats amid olive groves and vineyards. Now, high-end accommodations, award-winning wineries, restaurants, cafes, and boutique food producers have all made a home here. If you only have time for a walk and lunch, the Mashiesha Headland Walk has exceptional cliff views and circles ritzy residences. Afterward, have lunch at the nearby Kaikai Cable Bay or cab to the next closest, Oyster Inn. Further afield is Casa Tumiro, which is above beautiful on Atangi Beach. A lot of love has gone into this one-of-a-kind restaurant that serves Spanish-inspired fare under the talented hand of owner Kat Vosper. Or there's the dreamy scenic drive to Passage Rock Winery and Cafe. Be prepared to book cabs to and from wineries or hire a car. There is public transportation, but it doesn't go to the far reaches of the island. 10. Woodhill Mountain Bike Park. New Zealand is home to some of the world's best mountain biking. While the finest is found 3 hours south in Rotorua, there's a similar forestry setup at Woodhill Bike Park, just 40 minutes west of Auckland. There are more than 50 tracks in this adventure playground, and for the nominal fee of a $10 day pass, you can have as much fun as your legs and lungs can take. There are single tracks for everyone from beginners to advanced, plus night riding on Wednesdays when the park stays open until 10 p.m. Handle the Gentle and Acquired Taste are just a couple of the quirky names given to the at times fast, flowy, technical, and breathtakingly uphill tracks. There's bike hire, a shop, mechanic, and great coffee at the venue as well. 11. Royal New Zealand Ballet. There are advantages to being a young country with the constraints of traditions lessened. there's room to breathe and innovate. At an artistic level, the Royal New Zealand Ballet demonstrates how creativity, fresh energy, and dynamism can be infused into the long-standing discipline that is ballet. The RNZB is unique in the repertoire it offers New Zealanders and the world. The work of artistic director Francesco Bentriglia, who trained at Milan's La Scala and was appointed in 2014, replacing American Ethan Stiefel, will debut this year. Book well in advance. 1. Hangi. Let's start with the traditional Maori hangi. This involves meat and vegetables slow cooked in an underground oven. Although it was a common cooking method for thousands of years in New Zealand, today a hangi is saved for more special occasions, mainly because it takes all day to prepare. Prepare to be overfed but extremely satisfied at hangi meals as part of Maori cultural experiences. 2. Crayfish. Crayfish, also known as lobster, is a Kiwi favorite mostly because it's something many fishermen and divers pride on catching themselves. Known to cost 18 New Zealand dollars for a full crayfish, it's not exactly the most affordable food, but it's definitely worth a try when the opportunity presents itself. Then you'll understand why Kiwis go cray-cray for crayfish. 3. Hokey Pokey ice cream. Kiwis prefer Hokey Pokey ice cream. That's caramelized honeycomb over pretty much anything. If there's only one ice cream flavor you're going to try in New Zealand, make it Hokey Pokey. 4. Kina. Okay, New Zealanders love their seafood, so we'll just hop straight onto another foodie delight from the ocean. Kina is the local name for a type of sea urchin with a hard spiky outer shell and thin fleshy, and edible, insides. It has been a New Zealand delicacy for centuries. 5. Kiwi burger. You'll either think it's weird or it's genius. What makes a Kiwi burger Kiwi is the fact it has beetroot and fried egg along with your standard burger patties and whatever else between two burger buns. Don't knock it until you try it. 6. Jaffas. Rolling onto the sweet stuff. Jaffas are a confectionery favorite among New Zealanders, so much so that they race them. Jaffas are small sugar-coated chocolate balls with an orange flavor to them. Once a year, you can enter a Jaffa race in Dunedin where the candy is rolled down the steepest residential street in the world, Baldwin Street. Otherwise, you can pick up Jaffas at any supermarket or dairy, convenience store. 7. Pavlova. Ask an Australian and they will swear that Oz invented the pavlova. Ask a Kiwi and they will tell you different. Either way, pavlova is a much-loved dessert in New Zealand made with meringue, whipped cream and fruit. Try making some yourself for Christmas in New Zealand. 8. L&P. We'll sneak a beverage on this list just because it's very proudly Kiwi. L&P stands for lemon and Peiro, named after the North Island town it was invented in. It is as common as any soft drink in New Zealand, tasting a bit more lemony and sweet than Sprite. 9. Whitebait fritters. Don't visit the west coast of the South Island without trying whitebait fritters. It's considered a sin in New Zealand. Whitebait is a collective term for immature fish, usually around 1 to 2 inches long. You'll see heaps of keen whitebaiters setting up temporary shacks and jetties along the river mouths of the west coast, catching fish for the local eateries to make whitebait fritters. Think of them as a fishy omelette. 10. Manuka honey. A highly sought-after honey on the international markets, Manuka honey is acclaimed for its medicinal purposes. The more pure the Manuka component of the honey is, the healthy, and more expensive, it is. There are plenty of opportunities to try this sweet treat around New Zealand, from supermarkets to dedicated honey shops. 11. Kumara. Kumara isn't just a sweet potato, it is an epic sweet potato. kumara were brought to New Zealand by the early Maori settlers and still remain a favorite vegetable in New Zealand. The best way to try kumara is in a hangi, see above, but there are heaps of ways you can incorporate kumara into your own cooking in your hostel kitchen. 12. Pa'a, a final seafood delicacy that we just couldn't ignore. Pa'a is the local name for a large sea snail. You can eat pa'a in a variety of ways, from plain old raw to curries to pa'a fritters. What's more, pa'a shells are the national choice of ashtray for all you smokers out there. Alternatively, pa'a shells are often used in New Zealand jewelry and other decorative souvenirs. 13. Roast lamb. As New Zealand's biggest export meat and highly praised all over the world, lamb is a must-try in New Zealand. Roast lamb will be on the menu of most high-end restaurants and even in some pubs. 14. Savory pies, or just pies in New Zealand. Pies with savory fillings like mince and cheese, steak and cheese, and even fish pies are the go-to lunch at any gas station or bakery. Kiwi pies warm the soul and fuel you for a great New Zealand road trip. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Travel info.